Good evening. The Hoover Board of Education meeting is now called to order. If you choose, please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Netterville, will you please call roll to establish a quorum?
Amy Toski.
Here.
Jamie Madonna.
Here.
Craig Kelly.
Here.
Kermit Kendrick.
Here.
Alan Paquette.
Here.
Thank you. A quorum has now been established. Before you, board, you have the agenda for today's meeting. Do I have a motion to adopt? Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda is approved. We will now have a recognition time.
Thank you, President Tosny. Good evening to you, to the Board of Education, and Dr. Fowler. Thank you for the opportunity to recognize some of our outstanding teachers and students this evening. And we don't have any proclamations tonight, so we're going to jump right into the recognitions. And we're going to begin with Jakob Hell, a Hoover High School student in the IB program there. He'll be a junior this upcoming year. And he recently earned a spot in an international science and engineering competition held in Atlanta last month. He represented Hoover High School and the state of Alabama as one of the finalists of the 2022 Regeneron International Science and Engineering Fair. There were more than 1,500 finalists from 63 countries and regions at this fair. And this young man was among all of them. It was a very, very tough competition. And his mother says it was one of the most defining and enriching moments of his life. Now, he did not place in the competition, but for him just to even be there, earning that spot is huge. So thank you for coming up. Thank you for bringing your hardware. And, and you have another a ribbon around your neck there. And you can tell us where these came from, because these two pieces of hardware are the reasons why he earned a spot in the international competition. Yeah. I'll let you do the talking, Jakob.
These came from the Auburn Science Fair, and this was for the first place in the behavioral science category, and that was a virtual competition where I just presented my project to some judges, and I got awarded first place and qualified for the international science fair.
Project.
It was about music. It was a survey where I tested the effects of different techniques and how people emotionally respond to those.
And he's a member of the Hoover High School band, by the way. Congratulations. And his mother says this is just the beginning for him. And he will be back. He'll qualify again for that international fair, and he's going to rule the world one day. So congratulations. And here is your certificate. Please give him a hand, everyone. Thank you. We'll take pictures in the lobby after recognitions. Okay, and now to Sagar Yalaraju. He is a fourth grader at Brock's Gap Intermediate School. And as part of his participation in the Birmingham Math Academy, he competed and did very well in recent state and national math competitions. And one of them was the Math Kangaroo National Math Competition. And he earned a 96, which is a perfect score. and became #1 in the state of Alabama and tied for #1 in the nation because of that score. And the other one was the Noetic Math Contest, where he earned a 95% and got the team winner medal, which is basically puts him at first place in his team. So that is outstanding, Sagar. Did I get your name right? Okay. And congratulations to you. And we want to give him a hand. And also, your principal is here. He wants to come up and say some things about you. Your principal and assistant principal.
I've been working with Sagar on his math skills. No, he is exactly what exemplifies a great student at Rock Scout. We believe in educating the hand, heart, and head. And so he's not just a brain on a stick. He's very smart. He's also a spelling bee winner. So he's strong on the language arts side as well as the math side. But he's also part of our safety patrol team. He's a student council representative. He was one of the team that created for our special needs class an Easter project. So they had some positive affirmation. And so he is a strong leader in our school. And we're just proud of him, and especially these accolades in math. So we're proud of him.
Awesome. Could Sagar's mom please stand up? You don't. I tried to get her to speak. To tell her she could speak earlier. She doesn't want to speak. But congratulations. You're so welcome. Yes, Miss Hale. Okay, and our final recognition is for Miss Javonda Stonewall. You can come on up. She has a cheer squad with her. She's a 4th grade teacher at Bluff Park Elementary School, and it was brought to my attention that she was a speaker at the Public Affairs Research Council of Alabama's annual forum. She's a Bluff Park Elementary School teacher, in case I didn't say that. The forum brought policymakers, experts, and educators together to explore reading and math challenges in Alabama classrooms. And Ms. Stonewall was a presenter during the forum and was the only teacher in the state to speak during the forum, where State Superintendent Dr. Mackey was in attendance, and Governor Kay Ivey was there, among other state leaders. Ms. Stonewall spoke about literacy and improving childhood education. And I know your principal is proud of you, Ms. Weems. And I know it was an honor for you to be there to speak among the great there. And we wanted to recognize you for that and for all you're doing to educate our students. And here is your certificate. And Ms. Stonewall will say a few words about the information she shared during that forum.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thankfully, my family did not come to the, they did not come to the ceremony.
Supporting you.
Okay, I have my husband of 14 years, Mark Stonewall. I have twin girls, Lauren and Madison, my sister-in-law, mother-in-law, father-in-law, and my sister and nephew.
Wow.
So, yes. Oh, yes, and one my former student, and of course my principal. I just wanted to say, I wrote down some things. It was an incredible honor to be the only teacher. Mississippi State Superintendent was there. Our state superintendent. I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay, don't blow it. But we talked about the importance of strong literacy instruction, teaching teachers how to deliver strong literacy instruction, and the importance of identifying and intervening early with students. We also know that research shows that socioeconomic differences and race differences play a big part in helping students to learn to read. So one way we're overcoming that at Bluff Park is we have our books on the Bluff. Every week in the summer, teachers are coming out, giving their time. We're reading to students. We're going to them in the community. And we do a read aloud, we give out books, and it's just a great opportunity. So I'm so thankful that they asked me, and I was able to actually not embarrass myself there, but give really, I'm thankful that they wanted a real teacher's input in some of the laws that they were making. So it was a great honor. Thank you.
Thank you. And that concludes our recognitions. Thank
So
you.
much. That was great. All right, we now move on to our consent agenda. Dr. Fowler?
Thank you, Ms. Tosny. Thank you, board. For your consideration on the consent agenda, there are 3 sets of minutes. A regular meeting that was conducted May 10, a called meeting that was conducted May 20, also a called meeting conducted on May 27. Additionally, on the consent agenda for your consideration is the elimination of some obsolete items within the district. And these items are 5 school buses that we think that is necessary now for us to get rid of those in a manner that as we should. And I do recommend the items on the consent agenda.
Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as recommended by the superintendent? Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions from the board? I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The consent agenda is approved.
Thank you, Ms. Tosley. Thank you, board. The action items, the first items are our personnel action items. You have before you my recommendations for your consideration and hopefully approval of personnel actions. Ms. Williams is present and ready to stand any questions that you have pertaining to the recommendations. Please note that this first recommendation does not include the second listed name under appointments at South Shadescrest Elementary, which I will present to you for a separate vote. I recommend approval of all listed except the excluded name.
Board members, you have the superintendent's recommendation. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second? Second. Any questions? No discussion. Okay. I will call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great.
Thank you, Ms. Tosley. Thank you, board. Board members, you have my recommendations for approval of personnel actions. At this time, I would like to recommend the second listed name under appointments at South Shadescrest Elementary. I make that recommendation.
Dr. Fowler, I will not be voting or participating in this matter, so I will yield the floor and hand the gavel to the Vice President, Ms. Madonna, to preside over this vote. Please let the record show my recusal of the vote.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Tosny. Board members, you have the superintendent's recommendation. Do I hear a motion for its approval?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Not, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you, Ms. Tosley, Ms. Madonna, and board. At this time, the next items for your consideration are our business action items. And at this time, I'll call our CSFO, Ms. McKay, if she would come to the front to make these presentations.
Thank you, Dr. Fowler. So this evening's business actions, we have payroll for May 2022, $8,969,752.55. The cash disbursements for April 2022, $3,842,655.92. And tonight I am presenting the general purpose financial statements for the month ended April 30, 2022. For FY22, 78.8% of budget revenue has been received for the month ended April 30, 2022. The results of operations represent 7 months of activity. Accordingly, we would anticipate having spent approximately 58.3% of the budget for recurring expenditures. At this time, general fund expenditures are 55% of the budget. For the 7 months of activity, the current month's reserve is 11.32. In April, we made payments for restroom renovations, district-wide paving projects, instructional software, and we received 2 of 20 new air-conditioned buses ordered in October. Special revenue fund expenditures for 7 months of activity were $15 million, or 54.9% of the budget.
Thank you, Ms. McKay. Board, at this time, I do recommend approval of the business actions, which include the monthly financial statement, the cash disbursements, and the payroll for May 2022.
Do I have a motion to approve the business actions as recommended by the superintendent? Second?
Second.
Any questions? I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Business actions are approved.
Thank you, Ms. Tosley. Thank you, board. The next item for your consideration is the fiscal year 2023 capital plan. Once again, I will defer to our CSFO, Ms. McKay.
In May, I presented the long-term capital plan for Hoover City Schools. Since that time, we have added 2 additional projects: extra bathrooms at several Spain Park High School athletic fields and miscellaneous security upgrades across the district, each budgeted at $600,000. I'm asking your approval of the 6-year capital plan, including projects for fiscal years 2023 through 2028.
Thank you, Ms. McKay. Board, I do recommend for your consideration the capital plan for fiscal year 2023.
Do I have a motion to approve the 2023 capital plan as recommended by Dr. Fowler?
So moved.
Second,
I have a question.
any questions?
Maybe for Matt, Michelle, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Can you tell me, and there's a lot of important things on here, the schedule for that involves the athletics at the 2 schools, the disruption when we start and finish? The bathrooms at Hoover High School in Spain Park.
The athletic one.
Start and finish, and
We don't have a start and finish yet. We're going to design with Idaho Architects in August on both those projects, just because of their current workload. Hopefully I'd say by the end of September, I should have that scheduled. I can share that with the board.
and then, but you think in time for, a lot of this involves spring sports, in time for that? I don't know.
It's about a 4-month, they're anticipating about a 4-month schedule on construction. So it's possible we could get it for spring sports. So
Just curious. I'm sure there's some parents and coaches.
we'll be very happy with that, yes.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The 2023 capital plan is approved.
Thank you, Ms. Tyson. Thank you, board. And I will say for the public's information, we're going through these items and only noting changes that have been made. And it is noted at our May 10 meeting, there were detailed presentations regarding the capital plan and all of these other items that we are addressing at this point. I did not want the public not to know that we have made those. And if anyone would like to go back and see the May 10 board meeting, that is on our webpage. The next item for your consideration, board, is the salary schedule for this coming school year and for fiscal year 23. Ms. McKay.
Tonight, Board, I'm recommending you approve the 2022-2023 salary schedule for all Hoover City School employees. The changes from the previous year are the addition of new schedules for health professionals and behavioral aides. These schedules do reflect the legislative 4% pay raise and the adjustments to the state minimum salary schedule to be effective with the employee's contract date. And what that means is our 12-month employees would see that raise July 31st, and then our teachers would see that reflected on their September 30th paycheck, which is the first month of their new contract.
Thank you, Ms. McKay. Board, at this time, I do recommend approval of the 22-23 salary schedule.
Do I have a motion to approve the 22-23 salary schedule as recommended by the superintendent?
So moved.
Second? Any questions? I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Salary schedule is approved.
Thank you, Ms. Tyson. Thank you, board. The next item for your consideration will be the 22-23 athletic supplement schedules. Once again, Ms. McKay, our CSFO.
Thank you. I'm recommending the board approve the 2022-2023 athletic supplement schedule as presented in your packet. The only changes from the previous year are the adjustment of head coach and assistant coach supplements for baseball, softball, and volleyball, and the addition of a local school paid supplement for special teams coordinator.
I do make that recommendation of the athletic supplement schedule for 2022-23.
Do I have a motion to approve the 22-23 athletic supplement schedule as recommended by the superintendent?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions?
I'd just like to comment, please.
Sure.
Thank you for this, and thanks for, I know your staff helped with this. When I first came on the board, we had coaches and not just athletics, but other events where, for example, we'd have a JV football coach get paid more, an assistant get paid more than maybe a JV coach or freshman, one way or the other. And I'm not saying it was wrong, and it wasn't just the schedule, it was that they just didn't make sense. There was just a lot of things, and this is 2015, so to get a structure here, especially where admin understands where slots are, what people expect to get paid. Thanks for getting it to this point. Very much understand.
Great. Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The athletic supplement schedule is approved.
Thank you, Ms. Tosney. Thank you, Board. The next item for your consideration are other extracurricular supplements. Ms. McKay.
Again, I'm recommending the board approve the 2022-2023 other extracurricular supplement schedule as presented in the packet. The only supplement changes from the previous year are the addition of a lead psychometrist and a lead special education teacher, as well as local school paid supplement for a high school student council co-sponsor. And all of these were discussed again at the work session.
Thank you, Ms. McKay. Board, I do recommend approval of the 22-23 other extracurricular supplement schedule.
Do I have a motion to approve the extracurricular supplements as recommended by the superintendent? Second.
Second.
Any questions from the board? I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The extracurricular supplements are approved.
Thank you, Board. Thank you, Ms. Tosney. Ms. McKay, you may want to stay, and Matt, if you'll be ready, if there are any questions on the next recommendation. I am recommending, Board, that we reject the bid received for the Spain Park tennis and baseball drainage improvements. There was only one responsible and responsive bidder for this project. I also have recommended to Ms. McKay and to Ms. Wilson that we negotiate the work at a lower price. And I am very pleased to tell you that we have negotiated the work at a lower price. Matt, excellent job in doing this. Thank you very much. So I am also recommending, besides rejecting the bid, I am also recommending that we accept the modified negotiated price at $219,000 for this project. That is my recommendation, Ms. Thompson.
Do I have a motion to approve the bid for the tennis and baseball drainage improvements at Spain Park High School as recommended by Dr. Fowler?
So moved.
Second. Any questions?
I think we started off at 260 and he got it down to like 219,
That's great.
270.
270 even. Fantastic.
Great job.
Matt did a wonderful job with that.
Fantastic.
Of course, Ms. McKay was there showing him how much money we had in the bank account and what we could do.
Get the old penny jar out.
Did I get a second? I did, okay. Any questions? Oh, that was your question. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The bid is approved.
Thank you, Ms. Tosney. Thank you, Board. Thank you, Ms. McKay. Thank you, Ms. Wilson. Board, at this time, we're moving into the superintendent's information reports. And at this time, I would like to call our chief officer up over administrative affairs, Dr. Lamar. And at this time, he will discuss with you changes to the 22-23 Code of Conduct. Once again, Board, this is not a voting item. This is only for information only.
And sorry, can I make this fun, just so you all know? But you have two documents in front of you, either this one and this one. I recommend you follow this one, it's easier. Okay. And I won't go through each one where it says we're changing names. Like, for example, on page 2, all those names where it has Dr. Simmons, Dr. Smith, and so on. So those pages I will skip. There's a committee set up for the Code of Conduct. And so what I'm doing at this time is presenting to you the recommendations from that committee. Okay. If you look on page 10, just go to page 10. The recommendation was made to remove under discipline process. If you see the word possible, the first bold term there, possible disciplinary consequences for class 3. The reason we're removing the word possible, because if it's a class 3 at that point, you will receive consequences. So it's not like a class 1 or a class 2. All right. If you go to page 11, we are going to remove, this is a critical one that we've had come up multiple times this year. If you look at the last sentence in the first paragraph, where it says, if students receive a class 3 consequence, they will lose eligibility to attend RC3 for the remainder of the year. However, the student may reapply for RC3 the following school year. We felt like this was too harsh of a punishment for students if they go to Crossroads, that they cannot go back to RC3. And if you're a senior, you would not have the ability to reapply. for RC3. So we're taking that language out of the code of conduct. And then we're going to also add, if you look in the second paragraph where it says, while assigned to the program, students are not allowed to return to their base school or any Hoover City schools. What we're going to do that is change it to without principal permission. So there are times when we're taking like the ACT, you're taking exams. If you're at Crossroads, that means you cannot go back to your base school, which doesn't make a lot of sense in regards if you're at Crossroads. So we're going to add the word pending and also without the permission, with the permission of an administrator.
Can I ask a question? on
Sure.
something you just said? Back up at the first paragraph, the last. If they receive a class 3 consequence, they lose eligibility to attend RC3 for the remainder of that year.
Mhm.
What if they are a senior and they get whatever, 60, 90 days?
Right.
What happens with them? They just give it up?
They just give it up for the year.
Okay,
Yes,
so this really is applying to juniors and.
Mhm.
Okay,
it is.
perfect.
Absolutely. And then the recommendation was also made on the special role of school resource officer. We wanted to add that section to page 53. You see the next 2 pages that you all have. And then on page 12, where it says safe and drug-free schools, we want to add that on page 47. Just add the exact same language as a copy and paste. And if you go to page 13, again, I won't go over these. It's just really changing assistant superintendent to chief of administration officer. And for number 14, this is a recommendation that was made by the committee. If you look at number 5 under E, it is if a student is expelled, these are all the individuals that we will notify. The recommendation from the committee was to eliminate E. I recommend that we reject that recommendation. I feel like they should know, and that's the SRO. Should know if a student is expelled because that student should not be on campus. So that was a recommendation by the committee. I wanted to present it, but I think it should remain, unless you all disagree. All right, page 13, very simple. We are going to, you see where it says grade number 1, number of class 1 offenses. It's just going to change that 2.25 in that chart, that table up top, page 15, at the very top. And it's going to say class 2 versus 2.25. And then we will clarify the language where it says behavior involving verbal disrespect or inappropriate language. For this one, it is minor insults, name calling. We want to also clarify that on page 18. If you look on page 18, the next page that you all have, that language. You don't have 18? Okay. Well, that language is going to basically states it's going to be major insults, name calling with the same information. We're going to change minor, just say major. All right. And if you look at page 16, and that's going to be on a class 2 bus safety infraction, the second bullet where it says be at bus stop ahead of scheduled bus arrive time, we're going to make that a class 1. That should not be a class 2 in our opinion. And that was if a student is not at the bus on time, that was considered to be a class 2 offense, and we said it should be a class 1. Okay. And if you look at page 19, we already have that chart, the chart that you all have seen on page 15. We're going to remove this chart from the code of conduct since it already exists on page 15. On page 20 here, we have possession of stolen or lost property. We're going to add to that sentence where it says possession of any property that does not belong to the person in possession. We're going to just add this last part to it, or has potential to cause harm. Okay. On page 25, the recommendation was to remove the Alabama code. I'm recommending that we keep the Alabama code. That's just copy and paste from the Alabama code. So I would recommend we reject the recommendation from the committee and keep the Alabama code 16.1.24.3. Page 28 here, the same thing. Instead of that table, instead of it saying 2.25, it's just would say class 2. And we're looking at 6 through 12 class 2 offenses. If you look at page 30 here, it's the same thing. It was be on be at the bus stop ahead of the scheduled bus time arrival, make that a class 1 versus a class 2. On page 33, where it says physical aggression, at the end of that sentence, we're going to make the same terminology, or has potential to cause harm. This is one I will ask for your feedback, board. On page 34, the recommendation was made to change profanity and vulgarity to improper language or gestures. They felt as if profanity, many look at that as cussing and profane language. If we say improper language or gestures, that may be a more of appropriate term. So that's one. My recommendation is, I think it's fine the way it is, but what are your thoughts? You prefer improper language or gestures, or you just want to think about it?
Are you keeping inflammatory language in there as well?
It will. That part stays the same.
Just the title? James?
Just the title. To improper language or gestures.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And I think as long as it's described as it is after the title, I guess the title doesn't matter quite as much.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me the way it is.
Yeah.
Whatever y'all think.
Improper seems like it might be a little too subjective. I don't know.
That was my thought.
A lot
Yeah.
of it.
Because improper, I mean, you didn't say yes, sir, to me.
Different people may.
Exactly.
Right.
I agree. Okay, thank you.
But the gestures part, well, I guess gestures is covered in the.
And on page 38, well, I'm sorry, Ms. Tosny. Madonna, did you say anything? Okay. On page 38, where you see imitation controlled substances there, we want to add where it says in that first sale of a substance, at the end of that sentence there, or any hemp variant or byproduct, cannabis variant or byproduct, or any mood altering substances is prohibited. We just want to add that language to it.
How do you, what's the stuff?
CBD.
CBD.
What is that? CBD. I think that's Charlie Daniels.
Yes, that's what he's talking about.
It hasn't, it hasn't come up as of yet. So I would think it would fall in this category here.
So you're saying it would, even though it's legal to have outside the schools, it might not be here?
Correct. Because we're dealing with minor kids. I don't know if that's,
Maybe we can find out.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. I guess the police maybe.
The word
Yeah.
unauthorized seems to,
mhm.
that's kind of what you're going for.
We are trying to.
Yeah, it could be any, it's a good point.
And I don't have an opinion about it. I'm not.
Or unauthorized cannabis. Did you get that?
Yeah, I'm about to put that part down here.
And the Charlie Daniels thing.
CBB.
Or no fiddles.
Yeah, there you go.
And on page 39, changed in that table 3.38 to class 2. It's a really easy change. And let me know if I'm going too fast here also.
So what does that mean in the parentheses? Excluding parking violations, parties, and dress code?
What page are you on?
I'm the 39 in the table, 3.38.
So those are going to be considered more of your class 1s, and they will result into a class 2 over time.
Oh, meaning.
And so they're class 2s, but we're not going to count those against their class 2s. We're not going to count against the number 5 or 8.
Is that threshold? Is that threshold?
The threshold is 5 for every 9 weeks, and then for 6 through 8, then 9 to 12, we're looking at 8 every semester. So if a kid has a minimum of 8 for the semester in a high school, then we're looking at a class 3. If a kid has 5 for over 5 per 9 weeks, we're looking at a crossroads placement, potentially, looking at one. If we go over that threshold. And are we good there? Okay. On page 42, the way it reads here is that you have a choice to have it where you can have a parent notification and face-to-face conference in addition to one or more of the following dispositions. So this means that you can, we're going to change the language where it says if you have a class 3, it is not all of these options. If you have a class 3, it will be crossroads or you'll be expelled in addition to one of these options. As it currently reads, if you have a class 3, you can be revoked for technology for class 3. If you have a class 3 and that's all you get, what we're saying here, if you have a class 3, it would be either you're being expelled or you go to crossroads in addition to the part where it says recess future. So notification of law enforcement. So we'll add that in addition to alternative school or being expelled. On page 49, we're going to add in the first bullet, leisure pants. Please don't ask me what that is. Yeah. And you have the right to reject.
We're not going to measure the lapels on them.
I hope not.
Are we talking about like drawstring pants? Is that what you're really referring to?
I had to go to Google to look up leisure pants, if I may.
Is it already saved? I don't see that. I don't know. Things that you can pull down quickly? I'm just guessing. I'm not. I don't see leisure pants.
It's not on there currently.
They wanted to add.
You want to add?
They want to
Yeah,
add.
I want to know what it is first.
It says
Okay.
add and blankets after.
After, yeah.
Yes. And then blankets was the next one. We've had kids for a safety issue having blankets, walking in a hallway, and you walking with a blanket in the hallway, covering yourself up. And students are stepping on the blankets in a sense for safety reasons. These are leisure pants.
Oh, you're talking about pajamas.
Yes.
You're talking about wearing your PJs to school.
Oh, I have some of those. I don't wear them.
Gotcha.
Leisure pants.
Lounge wear.
We should have asked Mr. Montgomery, did you know?
All that talking I've done, you could have just spoken up.
Of course he did.
I wear them all the time.
And also, we want to make sure we add on page 49 also, that you cannot wear steel-toed boots unless authorized because of the RC3 program and some other possibilities. I also add a statement about heelys, those shoes with skates, and also are not allowed. So we want to add that language to page 49 as well. If you look at page, it says 61, but it should say 60. We want to add where it says under B. Yeah, you don't have 60. That was one that came up late. We just, basically this one says sex and we just add orientation under sex, under sex. And then 63, again, I won't go through those pieces, just really a principal designee or superintendent designee, and we're just updating the web page, the website for 68. Any questions y'all may have? Next time I'll have a presentation when it comes to the student clothes. I have pictures to go up with it.
I suggest you wear leisure pants.
You've given me permission. Thank you.
Before you leave, Dr. Lamar, I want to say thank you. It's not a fun job doing the student code of conduct, and I know that this is a job that has taken almost the whole second semester. If you will you tell the board who all's been involved in this? Maybe not every name, but categories of people who have helped in creating this and modifying this document.
Absolutely. So we've had high school principals, elementary principals, same thing with assistant principals, school counselors, parents, central office staff on this committee as well. Dr. Fowler was on the committee. And so just a lot of input. We spent a full day looking at a board attorney, looking at the language and trying to make sure it's fair and trying to make sure it makes sense as well. For example, like the RC3 one, in everyone's mind, that did not make sense at the time to punish a kid in that fashion. So we just wanted to make sure we looked at things from a more equitable perspective too.
It is a very tedious task, and many thanks to our Chief Administrative Officer for handling this.
All right.
Thank you, Dr.
All right, thank you. I did not mean to close the meeting, by the way.
The next information item, Ms. McKay, will you come back up to the podium, please? This is information for the board's consideration, not to be voted on at this time, but information on about out-of-district senior enrollment with tuition.
The tuition for out-of-district will change from $4,287 to $4,417 for the academic year 2022-2023. And this is equal to the fiscal year 2021 cost per pupil. The tuition is only for seniors who are currently enrolled in Hoover High and Spain Park and are moving or have moved out of district and are requesting permission to remain in Hoover City Schools as a senior tuition student. The tuition is only valid for one academic year with transportation provided by the parent.
Thank you, Ms. McKay. That's for your consideration later on, and while you're at the podium, Ms. McKay, we're looking at relocating the athletic offices at Hoover High School. Also, Mr. Montgomery is here to speak to that if the board would like to hear from Mr. Montgomery also. Ms. McKay.
To enhance the building security, we are relocating the Hoover High School athletic office to the girls' athletic wing on the backside of the Hoover High School competition gym. With this move, we can use our existing access control system to manage who enters the building and when, ensuring only authorized personnel and guests have access to the available space.
Mr. Montgomery, you agree with this recommendation?
Yeah, I've been wanting this for several years. We, currently, people come into the front of the building, they sign in, and they walk down that hallway to the athletic wing to see the bookkeepers or whoever they've got to see. This will have a door between them and the rest of the school. And so it's gonna really help out. It's also going to reduce traffic in the front lobby area, which will also make us safe. So we're really for this, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Montgomery. Ms. McKay, thank you very much. Board, those are all of the information items that I have. Ms. Tosman.
Great, thank you. Upcoming meetings, board, we have a whole board training, which we have to do every year, 2 hours, and that is actually tomorrow, 11 o'clock here at the Board of Education building. And our next regular board meeting is going to be July 12th at 5:30. And do we have any public comment?
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Tosney. Before I make the next announcement regarding an executive session, I do want to thank our principals for being here. It's always encouraging to see you guys here. And I know you have busy days and busy mornings, and giving some of your evening time to come to the board meeting when we have to call on principals for suggestions and enlightenment. I want you to know we really appreciate that. Thank you, and to our staff members here also. Thank you very much. It's very well noted that you are here. At this time, I request that the board consider voting to go into an executive session to consider a matter that is properly viewed as confidential under Alabama law. As you know, the open meeting law requires that particular procedures be followed prior to entering an executive session.
The board has received a declaration in writing from its attorney that the matter is one to which an exception under the open meeting law applies and for which the board may adjourn into executive session. The declaration will be recorded in the minutes. The board must first vote whether to adjourn to executive session. The vote of each member must be recorded in the minutes, and the board may only enter the session upon a favorable majority vote. Therefore, Ms. Tosney, it would be appropriate for you to entertain a motion at this time that the board enter into an executive session.
Is there a motion to adjourn into executive session to discuss the board's legal options in relation to pending litigation and the legal ramifications thereof?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Great. Ms. Nerval, will you please call the roll?
Amy Crossley,
Yes.
Amy Madonna,
Yes.
Craig Kelly,
Yes.
Kermit Kendrick.
Yes.
Alan Paquette.
Yes.
The motion carries, and we will adjourn into executive session at this time. No vote or board action will be taken in the executive session, and we will not return to the meeting after concluding the executive session. So accordingly, this will conclude the business portion of the meeting. We are adjourned.
It's too hot to do anything else, so I was just like, let it fly.
Already, and it's only Tuesday. Thank you so much for the tickets. I really appreciate it.